Broadcasting across the U.S. and around the world. Good morning, radio friends, and welcome to the Retro Oldies Brunch. I am your host, Vern Sherd. This week's showcase is a special music feature, Behind the Music of Movie Soundtracks, Volume 2. We covered some movie music last spring, and now we're back for round 2. We'll feature songs from motion pictures over the years, some iconic, and some you might not have heard in a while. We'll share some anecdotes and provide a bit of history behind some of the songs. During the showcase, we'll have our 3-of-a-kind music trivia, followed by a forgotten movie soundtrack hit from our radio vault. We'll also have our long-distance dedication. On this week's showcase, a song from a disaster movie about a luxury liner, and a troubled performer aims to make it big in the local music scene. We'll begin with a song from the final feature film by Elvis in which he portrays a physician working at a local health clinic who falls for a co-worker played by Mary Tyler Moore, unaware that she is a nun. From the 1969 movie Change of Habit, here is the king of rock and roll with Rubberneckin. Irwin Allen was a popular movie producer in the 1970s who was famous for the various disaster flicks featuring all-star casts that reached the theaters, such as Earthquake and The Towering Inferno. Now we're up to the song from another movie that Allen produced in which a luxury ocean liner capsizes, leaving the passengers to fight for their survival. Gene Hackman plays a reverend who sacrifices his life to help guide the other passengers to safety in The Poseidon Adventure. Topping the pop charts in 1973, here is the movie's theme song, The Morning After, by Maureen McGovern. We're up to the film, which is somewhat of a semi-autobiography about a musician who has a troubled home life and dreams of making it big in the Minneapolis music scene. Facing internal battles within his band and rivalry and jealousy from other performers, the performer known as The Kid ultimately rises to the occasion and makes his mark on the local music scene. The 1984 movie spawned 5 top 40 hits on its soundtrack and made Prince an international superstar. Topping the Billboard Pop Charts for 5 weeks, here is the lead single from the movie Purple Rain. This is When Doves Cry. And now it's time for our long-distance dedication. We received an email from Rob in Pennsylvania. Hey Vern, I've become a regular listener to your show, and I'm submitting this email in hopes that you can read it on the air. A little about myself. My name is Rob, and I live in Philly. Back when I was in my 20s, I lived in an apartment complex and worked a couple jobs to help pay off my student loans. One day, I noticed that a cute redhead was moving into the next apartment building. I introduced myself and offered to help her move in. Her name was Jennifer. We connected right away, began spending time together, and eventually became exclusive. Jennifer was a trauma nurse, which meant that there were times where she had to work long hours. I was very understanding that it was a stress-filled job. We planned trips whenever her schedule permitted and enjoyed our adventures. We had made it clear that neither one of us wanted to get married as we both dealt with divorce in our families. We were content with the way things were. A few years later, Jennifer was given the opportunity to be head trauma nurse at another local hospital. At first I was happy for her, but I noticed that she was spending more time with her new co-workers than with me. As it turned out, I was given a promotion at my job, but involved some travel out of the area. Jennifer and I did manage to schedule a weekend away together to try and work on our relationship, but we felt like complete strangers to each other. After nearly 6 years together, the magic was gone, and we split up. After some years had passed since our split, I ran into Jennifer at a concert a couple years ago, and we had a chance to catch up. We decided to connect with each other on social media so we could keep in touch. We chat from time to time, but we've accepted the fact that we just grew apart and it just wasn't meant to be. Could you please play Can We Still Be Friends by Todd Rundgren? I want Jennifer to know that although life doesn't always end up the way that we think it shouldn't take away from the memories that we created. Thanks for reading my story. Sincerely, Rob. Well, Rob, thanks for sharing your story with me and all of my listeners. Here's your long-distance dedication. That was Kiss from a Rose, and that concludes this week's Retro Oldies Brunch special music feature, Behind the Music of the Movies, Volume 2. Be sure to connect with DJ Greyhound Radio on LinkedIn. Join us next month as we highlight a year from the past with our regular showcase, The Year That Was. Until next time, radio friends, this is Vern Sherd saying, don't be afraid to aim high with your goals. Even if you come up short, you'll still end up at a better place. You're listening to DJ Greyhound Radio. Playing the hits of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.